Hello, everyone. I'm Anthony, along with Chris, Leon, and Marco, and this is Hard Knock Hawks. This is the podcast where we talk about our favorite team, the Atlanta Hawks, and other stuff too. Today, we're going to be discussing a whole bunch of things in this episode. As we are recording, the first game seven in the NBA Finals in 9 years has concluded with the OKC Thunder blowing out the Indiana Pacers at home. It looked to be a close game at first in the first half, but OKC's defense completely dominated the second half. A pretty big injury occurred within this game. Tyrese Haliburton injured his Achilles and teared it, so the Pacers point guard actually is maybe out. Well, I said maybe is probably going to be out for the entirety of next season. So I'm going to ask you guys two questions. What do you guys think of the NBA Finals overall? And how do you think this injury is going to change the landscape of the East? And I'll start with you, Marco.
Yeah, rip to Halliburton, man. It sucks that did happen, especially in Game 7. That's like the worst time to really tear your Achilles. But with the East being wide open, yeah, man, the East is like legit wide open. Tatum, he tore his Achilles. Dame, I actually forgot Dame tore his Achilles. Until y'all said it earlier. Dame tore his Achilles. I think somebody else had an ACL tear over on our side, didn't? Yeah, no, Tatum was Achilles too, wasn't it?
Yeah, Tatum. Yeah.
Yeah. And Tatum tore his Achilles, so that's like.
I'm loving the way you saying Achilles.
My bad. That's my.
No, keep it up. No. I ain't shaming you. I said I like it. Goddamn, chill.
Oh my god.
But nah, yeah, it's crazy how it's going on. But like you said, the East is wide open, so Hawks have no excuse to like try to capitalize on this. You have a very much clearer path to try to go to the finals, like a real playoff push. If you build the right team, try to actually put pieces around Trey to help, get us over that hump. Because again, you have no excuse. Like, what? Am I supposed to be scared of Kuzma hoops? Like, so Hawks just have to capitalize off the moment they've given to a man, and that's what about you, Chris?
I mean, yeah, you could say the East is probably as open as it's been in a long time. I mean, I think that probably happened when LeBron left. There's just been a lot more parity in the NBA in general. In recent years, I think if you get yourself in the conversation, get to the dance with like a team that belongs there and knows how they want to play ball, it's really kind of about getting hot. In today's NBA, there's not too many dominant teams or dominant players. I think the mental side of the gamesmanship is kind of gone. These teams are just letting people get back into it. So, I mean, if you get there and have a strong unit and the right pieces, then you have a chance. So, yeah, I mean, with this injury, it's wide open. It's unfortunate for the Pacers. The Thunder capitalized, and yeah, you kind of saw just the healthiest team. The two healthiest teams were the ones in the finals, and then the healthiest team won. So it's really just about getting there and having a group that belongs. Leon.
The Hallie injury sucks for him. Shout out OKC. Shout out to MVP. Congratulations on winning your championship. Just want to note something that just came to my mind. 5 days ago, the Indiana Pacers traded their first round pick from this year and Mojave King, whoever that is. I know who it is, but most of our listeners don't. For their own first round pick next year. Now, 3 days ago, that probably seemed like a great deal to the Pelicans. But today, they probably wish they could have that trade back. That's all. Go Hawks.
Yeah.
Pelicans getting fleeced like after the fact.
Yeah, that is actually crazy to think about that. But my thoughts is one for the finals. I feel like just think about it. OKC maybe from what I've seen the least serious 60 game plus win team I've seen in a minute, because even though there were like stretches where they seemed dominant, I felt like there were so many times where it just felt I don't know how to say it, that they just didn't.
They left the door open
Yeah,
so many times,
exactly.
and the Pacers just couldn't get through that door.
Like
Yeah, they don't know how to close.
They don't, and it's just weird, especially in this series. Like, why? Like, especially in this game 7 too. It's like, why in this last 6-7 minutes are they just letting the Pacers just score at basically will? Like, why are we letting Mathurin basically score at will, get to the foul line? Like, why? It doesn't make sense to me. Why is Kasich Wallace still in the game when TJ McConnell is cooking him and he has done that for literally the entire series? It doesn't make sense to me.
They felt like they were going to win, right?
You're right.
And it never really got like dire. Well, they cut it to 9, maybe 8 once, but mostly it was really low teens, 9, 8 tops. So, you might as well continue to get your guys finals minutes, man.
I mean, you're right, but considering the circumstances and the fact that Indiana has pulled off like all these miracle comebacks before.
I mean, not without their.
I'm about to say they've been pulling those. They've been pulling those. Yeah, they've been pulling those comebacks back with Haliburton. So it's like you can't expect them to do that without him.
That's true.
I think that's kind of just like the style of basketball today. Like half-court offense is so much less deliberate. Teams are having these short possessions. You can get back into so many games, and the Thunder don't run a great half-court offense. They don't create easy offense for themselves to really blow you out once they get you down. Like they just let you back. Like Shai's gonna come down and like he doesn't see it. He's gonna take a stupid step back, and then the Pacers just run right away. They get 2 layups off of that.
Yeah, they're the pace. The pace they like last year they had like the best pace in NBA history or some shit like that. Yeah, they're insane.
Yeah, it's just to me, I just felt they were just casually approaching it, even though they won. It just kind of disappointed me, even though they won. I felt like I just expected more from them. And I mean, if there was like a more talented team, honestly, I could just see OKC just getting completely obliterated. Honestly, like imagine if, let's say, Aaron Gordon was actually healthy in that previous series. I mean, I can see the Nuggets beating them.
I mean,
I don't know.
OKC isn't like a good 3-point shooting team. I think like Chris had pointed that out like earlier when we were talking about it in the group chat. Like they're not a good 3-point shooting team. So you kind of cut off those drives and you cut off those mids. They're like kind of stopping. And the guy that they were their main 3-point shooter, he wasn't really getting minutes because, to be honest, I don't know why he wasn't getting minutes, but maybe because he's just one-dimensional that way. But I like Isaiah Joe, so I don't know.
I mean, he's not a really good defender. He's just, I don't think it would be probably.
But sometimes you gotta, sometimes you gotta take that. You guys just gotta take that.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that, but I don't know for this.
I mean, they won, so
I mean, they won.
You're right, they won.
They won.
And I mean, I can't. At the end of the day, like my criticism are pointless if they won.
They are the NBA champions.
Well, they're the NBA champions.
What I'll say is, I get what you mean, and like they're not as dominant as you would expect from like a team that was one of the best ever in the regular season. And I think that is just kind of the league where they were an amazing defensive team, and so they were able to get out and run. And they had an MVP. They
super young team. They're gonna run you to death.
Yeah, and usually those teams like we don't expect to win in the playoffs because they don't have like that half-court game when things slow down. But so many people are trying to run. Like that's why the Nuggets are probably their biggest threat because they do have that half-court offense and they can play a slow game. But everybody else is trying to run too, so just kind of play into like their strategy.
Yeah, it's just weird. I just felt kind of disappointed, honestly. But going into how I guess in terms of the landscape for the East, obviously the East is wide open. The Pacers are the champions of the East, but I mean, without Haliburton, they're probably only going to win like 44, 45 games. So who knows what's going to happen? I mean, Cavs are probably going to be number 1 seed again, but they don't really have like any real actual good forwards or anything except.
To me, they got a defensive player of the year, Evan Mobley. Respect.
Oh yeah, I forgot him. I can't believe I kind of forgot him, but
I'm kidding. But he plays more of a big, so I was just being facetious.
Yeah, but it's weird. I mean, I just hope the Hawks manage to just get some kind of depth because depth has just been such a crucial, problem for like the past 2 or 3 years. Basically, it's just one injury and this whole team just gets destroyed, right? Like whether it's Jalen, whether it's Trey getting injured, it's just we're gonna get blasted out the building. So hopefully this is the year that they actually focus on it. But I think one trade that we are going to talk about eventually is the KD trade and how the Rockets use some of their depth they have and basically improve their team. And I know a lot of Hawks fans were obviously talking a lot about KD because obviously Kevin Durant thinks Trey is a great player and stuff, but sadly the Hawks weren't able to pull it off. But let me go into details about this trade for a second. The Phoenix Suns traded, the Houston Rockets traded Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, and the number 10 pick and 5 second-round picks for Kevin Durant. So I'm going to go with you, Leon. What's your thoughts on the KD trade?
It's a little bit lower than I think a lot of people thought, despite Kevin's age and his hesitancy to re-sign with whatever team traded for him. But Houston, what they were really able to do with this is even if it's a rental, like they cleared up so much space. They still got a couple years before they got to pay Amen and Jabari. I mean, they got that big Dylan Brooks contract off the book and Jalen Green's contract off the books. They only really had to move 2 guys, and yeah, they were 2 starters, but it's for KD, and it's not like they don't have a player to fit into that next spot in the starting lineup. So they should be Houston should be good again. I mean, they were the number 2 seed in the West. I don't see them getting worse. And of course, from the Phoenix side, they had a hole to dig themselves out of, and they got a couple picks. Obviously, they got Dylan Brooks, who is a starting level wing, which is something they really didn't have outside of their big 3, and Jalen Green, who is a basketball player that makes money, and the 10th overall pick. So, they'll be able to do something with that, whether they trade back or and get something else, use that to get off Bradley Beal's contract, get something decent back, or they might just pick a really good basketball player at 10. So, they got options too. I think it's probably a win-win for both, but I think the Suns probably feel like they left a little meat on the bone. Probably wish they could have got a little bit more than they did. But good game 7-day trade. Chris?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's an interesting trade for both teams. I think for Houston, it was really smart for them. I think it was a team that exceeded expectations last season, playing really good team ball and executing Ime's defensive scheme. And I think now with Kevin Durant, they give themselves a bit more legitimacy on the offensive side, someone that you can actually really run your offense through. I think that will be really consistent for them. Gives Amen some time to kind of grow into who he's going to be as a player without having to try to carry the offense too early. And they were able to keep a lot of their depth. And I think they honestly are in position to turn around and try to make another move maybe this summer. But at the deadline, I think there's going to be some team the might be waiting out the Bucks, see what they do with Giannis, because I don't think that's going to be a good team next year. And for Phoenix side, they were able to get Dylan Brooks, right? Like you said, it's starting caliber wing, really good defensive piece for them that they're going to need with Booker and Beal being so much of their offense. They're going to need someone that they can put on the ball and try to hide Devin some, and Beal's really just not going to be that guy for them. So that was a big pickup. And I think with Jalen Green, you have a guy that doesn't have a terrible deal. And I think I assume they have already found a third team for him. And if you can flip him for a big and maybe a forward, maybe some younger guys, right, that can come in and just give them some minutes, and you got 10. So I don't think it's a bad deal for either team. I think Phoenix kind of accomplished their goals in terms of flipping KD. They didn't really have too many options with Beal not wanting to cooperate. So I think they made the most out of it. And yeah, I think Houston's in a really good opportunity to maybe supercharge a Amen KD group and go for it over the next couple of years. So yeah, it's a very interesting trade.
Marco.
Yeah. I mean, good trade for Houston. You know, Phoenix had to do what they had to do because he wanted out, and Houston is. I mean, not Houston. I mean, Phoenix is not like the best team since Ishiba has gotten there. So, good trade for Houston. They only gave up Dylan Brooks and Jalen Green. I mean, that's a steal for what, and you know, a pick in 5 second rounds is a steal for the caliber of player that KD is, because a lot of people are on Twitter are like, well, KD's 30 is going to be 37, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, that's KD, man. That's a 6'10 guy that's who's scoring is never falling off. But good trade for Houston. Like I said, Phoenix, they had to do what they had to do, got what they had to get from it. So yeah, that's all I really got to say on it.
Obviously, I think for the Rockets, it's obviously a good trade. I don't think Jalen Green is probably the best player for them, and I think it was probably the right time for them to move on from him, especially with his contract. And Dylan Brooks, I mean, I think he's a good player, but I mean, you could probably find another player like him, except for his attitude and how intense he could be. I think the main thing for Suns is that I don't think, like everyone else here said, I don't think you could. Is for the value of what KD is, he's a Hall of Famer, right? You probably should have gotten more, but I think the Suns realized they probably didn't have as much leverage as they think they probably could have gotten, and they probably just may have just taken the best deal they had with like the best player and like the best pick possible. So at this point, I think they're obviously going to use like the 10th pick to either just trade for a center or just draft a young center that could hopefully work with Booker. I have no clue what they're going to do with the point guard situation, because I don't know if Jalen Green could potentially work as a point guard.
Absolutely not.
Yeah. Or are they just going to try the Devin Booker point guard thing again? Because I mean, it worked fine, but I don't know if it's going to work again. It's going to be a weird thing to see. And then you have Bradley Beal, who's probably going to be waived or something. Like, I don't know. It's going to be a weird thing to see in Phoenix. But I have one more question to ask you guys about the KD trade. So obviously, I'm pretty sure the Hawks probably were interested in getting KD. What would you have traded for KD, and what would you have felt that would have been like, let's say, an overpay or fair price? And I'll just start with you, Chris.
I don't know if you want to start with me.
It's okay. It's okay.
I've been clear. I would have been trying to shop around the Zach 00 and pick package to try to go get a small forward that can get the Hawks some buckets and run some offense for them. And I think projecting out who those guys are going to be, I think that's fine value. I don't know that's an overpay. I think to say that means Zach has to – I don't know if people realize how good Zach has to be worth passing on any amount of years of Kevin Durant, let alone like the potential to re-sign him to have KD for 3-4 years. Like, what he's going to give you is so much more than either of those players, and the replaceability factor, I don't know what word I'm really looking for in terms of 00 and Zach. I don't know that either does anything so special that I can't go get a guy that's a winning player at that position and not regret it. So yeah, I would have been trying to shop them. I still would be trying to shop them over the next year. Hopefully they can find some depth in the draft. that makes losing them more palatable for everyone involved. So the Hawks can kind of go for it before this roster gets really expensive again. Yeah, that's me.
What would you say, Marco?
Probably what Chris said. Zach 13. I would try if I could have it like leverage it, I would try to keep Onyeka out of it. But any deal I would do would start with Zach. I don't know how you scale and overpay for Kevin Durant because I don't think it's a such thing for players like that. It's not really there's no such thing as an overpay unless you're just giving like 10 first or some shit like that, which is impossible. But yeah, I think that whatever deal I did it starts with Zach. How about you, Leon?
Oh yeah, man. I think Zach is a good start. Um, 2 picks probably would have been the kicker there. I think the Hawks realized that they didn't have a team deep enough to do that. And, probably if you're going to be competing with the offer that the Rockets gave, you probably would have had to get, not probably, you would have had to give 13, right? And then you just, at least just 13. And then you're picking at 22 to fill in what? A number of spots. Like you still, because if you do that, you know, probably have to throw one more contract in, like Man or Yank or sign and trade Harris or sign and trade into somebody else that's expiring if that gets it done. So you're going to be filling in a lot of spots on your bench. And uh, I would have tried to get away with not having to do that. But it's tough. We've never had a serious wing on this team in the Trae Young era. Like the closest you got was playoff Bogey and Kevin Herter. Nothing else was really close enough at all. And we know what those players are. So it's just unfortunate that they haven't been able to secure that player. They've targeted that scoring forward a number of times over the past couple of years. Pascal, obviously, one win away from his second ring, and probably would have won Finals MVP if they won today. Brandon Ingram, who's obviously in Toronto, struck out there, and KD this time if they did try to go for it. We know that we heard reports that they talked to them at the deadline to try to get KD. They had some more contracts to play with than Dre and Vogie because those were kind of at the deadline moves. So it's interesting. It would have been nice to have him on this team. Trey and KD would have fed families, as the kids say. Back to you, Ant.
For me, this is probably controversial, I guess. I think
Ooh.
okay. If I think Zach and OO would probably be an overpay. I know like I said, Kevin Durant is a Hall of Famer, but he's 37 and he's on an expiring contract. I really wish a part of me was thinking like if Hunter and Bogey was still on the team because it would have been significantly easier to just fill in those like holes for like any like trade like that, but they're not. So I think my main issue with just putting both of them in a trade like that is that if you trade Onyeka, you would have a way harder time finding a starting center. And if let's say Gafford wants to go, how am I trying to say this? I don't know if the Hawks can basically find enough salary or use their picks basically to find a starting center without basically drafting a rookie who may not be good enough to start year 1 or year 2, or be able to have enough capital to draft or to get on a trade for a center. And that's a big issue that I think with like putting Onyeka in the deal. Because if it was me, it would probably just be Zach picks and just other stuff like Man, Niang. And at that point, it's just you losing all your depth. So I think if they were the Hawks, that's probably what they try to do in a Kevin Durant trade. And it's ultimately why they probably would have failed. It's just, I don't know. It's just hard for the Hawks to do certain trades because of that. And I wonder if KD probably would have even wanted to play here at this point. Because, I mean, apparently, Texas has no income taxes and stuff. It's warm. So, I don't know. It's weird. But speaking of picks in the draft, we're gonna do our last little section about the NBA draft on this podcast for this year. And that means we are just gonna go over all of our favorite players, least favorite players that we think about on the NBA draft. And I'm gonna start with you, Leon. So do you have any least favorite players or favorite players you have seen throughout this whole draft process?
My favorite players at 13 probably Cedric Coward, Colin Murray Boyles, Carter Bryant. Physical forwards or wings with, you know, outlier physical trait of some kind. With Coward, of course, it's the wingspan and the athleticism, the raw athleticism. With Carter Bryant, it's the shooting for a young guy. Obviously was on a very successful team in Arizona. And the stock numbers are out of this world, especially for a 19-year-old in a Power Four conference. And Colin Murray Boyles, who was on a terrible team, that he kind of willed to wins with some huge performances. And obviously has a tremendous defensive versatility, has a little creation ability, especially from the free throw line. Can't shoot for real, but is good at basketball, Now, as far as like worst picks, I don't know. A guard, basically any guard's probably just not a good pick to me. Igor is at 6'8", 6'9", but he's still a guard. And um, um, Jace would be crazy at 6'1". At 13, at 22, it's more palatable, but at 13, it's not very palatable. And Ace Newell. I'm not a huge Ace Newell guy. He's grown on me, but he just doesn't scream center or power forward. I'm not sure he's skilled enough to be a power forward. I'm not sure he's big enough to be a center. And the biggest thing for me is that his height is fine.
So he's a tweener.
But what really makes him a tweener is the frame and the absolutely terrible wingspan. Like the wingspan's under 7 feet. And he's a center. And he's probably like he's a 4 or I don't know. So it's rough for him in general. But other than that, we're most anything else won't agitate me too much. Are you asking just for 13 and 22?
Yeah, 13 and 22.
Okay, so for 22, obviously I like Rasheer Fleming, another physical forward, shot the heck out of the ball at St. Joe's, finisher around the rim. Yeah. And who else? Nick Clifford. If they go for a bigger player at 13, get it's kind of like a wing guard, average 10 rebounds at 6'5", and a lower conference, but 10 rebounds is 10 rebounds. Good self-creation ability, solid defender, but doesn't have a lot of defensive upside as a result of his, he doesn't have the anthrometric physical traits. Not a super long wingspan, 6'5", like a 6'9" wingspan. His hips are fine. There's nothing. He doesn't do anything special on defense besides rebound. And one of my favorite things is guards who rebound. At 22, the only thing like what would upset me, Ben Seraph, he's getting a lot of smoke right now. I try not to think about the guys I wouldn't draft too often. Y'all know what I like. Who would agitate me at 22? Who do I really not want at 22? Y'all know who I don't want.
Walter Clayton Jr. Would you like him?
I wouldn't love him at 22, but there's a world where it doesn't go great up to 22, and I'm looking at the players, and I could see them drafting Walter Payton Jr. Obviously, they'd have to do a little bit more around the roster, especially when it comes to the big position and stuff like that. Ah, dang. Oh, Danny Wolf. Yeah, don't draft Danny Wolf. Please don't draft Danny Wolf. Sorry, forgot about him. I'm good on Danny Wolf. I just don't think that he can shoot. I don't know. Third-year player didn't even shoot 70% from the free throw line, and like the believers will say shot diversity, self creation. I get that. I don't. I don't. I don't love the defense. It's just too many questions for me for a player that old. Um, Contrarily, like Coward, shot 40% from three. He's been hyper efficient his entire career at every level he's played at. So I don't have any qualms about him like being semi efficient at the NBA level. Marco, what about you, buddy?
I'm gonna keep mine a little shorter because you've like ran through most of the most of the draft analysis, but that is your forte, so I appreciate it. No guards. If we're gonna start with what will like make me mad, no guards. I don't think we really need a guard at either pick, especially when we've been a team that's like had forward depth issues for like the last since 21. Yeah, since our Eastern Conference Finals run. So I feel like a guard shouldn't be in play unless you just feels like it's, I don't know. I still would be mad even if you felt like it was right. No Derek Queens, no Asa Newells, no. In the beginning, I was like, I almost bought the idea of Danny Wolf, but now as I've like, done my research, playing around on it.
I'm gonna ask about Derek Queen in a second, but go ahead.
But I get just to go ahead and get my answer out there. I get the idea of Queen. Like I get why y'all would like Queen, and I get it, but I feel like it's just not for this team. But yeah, no Derek Queens, no Austin Newells, no Danny Wolves, no nothing like that. If I wanted to take somebody at 13, I've been pretty high on Carter. I've been high on some people seem it's a little crazy to take Rasheer at 13, but I feel like Rasheer going at 13 isn't crazy at all, especially with like how his measurements and how he's played and all that goes.
I don't know. I think there are better players you could take at 13.
You wanted to take Queen at 1, man. I don't want to hear that.
No, what does that have to do with any? Okay, never mind.
But
okay.
22. I am not on the 2 rookie boat. I would try to trade 22 for a now NBA player, especially if the Hawks' goal is trying to win. I would shop 22 around because I don't think 2 rookies is really bringing you anything. So yeah, that's how I kind of am feeling on it. What about you? What about you, Chris?
I believe in the Hawks need to be drafting with like clear intentions this year. For one, I don't really like anomalous BPA as if this team has like a bunch of 19-year-olds that are like all trying to figure it out and you're like trying to see what you need and what you have. I think it's clear what this team has and what they need. So I think they need to be targeting players that can kind of be plug and play. So I do really like a guy like Cedric Coward who can come in and play the 2-3 and give you the type of defense that you're looking for, hit some threes, and maybe has a little juice outside of that. I really like Rasheer Fleming. Obviously, we've talked about him before. He's got a lot of the measurables you want in the play style, and I think he'd be plug and play in this offense and defense, both sides. Yeah, so those are 2 of the guys I'm really high on. That's my ideal draft. Obviously, I know it's a little boring. We've already talked about that, but it really depends on kind of who falls to 13. You don't really know who's going to be there. That one probably a mix of fit and BPA, right? You want a guy that you have a real use for, and you're kind of hoping that a really good wing that you can use falls to there. 22. It's a really interesting range because I feel like 13 and 22 is all kind of flat in this draft. I think there's a good chance You're going to get the guy you get at 22, you might have been considering at 13, just because of how much talent there kind of is, and the playable players and the young players. There's a really good mix, I think. And yeah, I think Fleming could be there at 22. There's a chance he's not, and he goes somewhere in the upper teens, like Marco was saying. I would be comfortable taking him at 13 if Coward's there, right? There's guys that are like, I need them to be there before I just take Fleming at 13. But yeah, I would be comfortable taking him there. I'm also not against trading 22 for an established player. I think the Hawks really kind of need to be executing a plan going forward over the next 6 months or so, however long it takes us to get to the trade deadline, right? Bring in some contracts and maybe a veteran so that you can make a move at the deadline, right? We've mentioned how their lack of depth and not having contracts that are movable might be hampering some of these deals. We know that the contracts they had before were impacting deals, so maybe using 22 to bring in a guy that will be tradable at the deadline is a way to go. We've seen multiple teams do that recently, just trade a guy that they just signed in order to make a move. So yeah, we'll see what they do. I think they have a really good chance to get 2 playable players, or if it's 1, that's fine by me as long as you're kind of maximizing that value.
All right. My thoughts for 13-22. I'm gonna stick with my not original pick, but actually it's 2 picks. Either Colin Murray Boyles, or do I want to say Derek Queen? I don't want to say Derek Queen. If Derek Queen falls to 13, I think the Hawks should take him. Should they? I'm actually, I'm gonna put that in the burner for now. I'm just gonna say Colin Murray Boyles. I think like he's elite at getting to the rim. He's a great defender. I think obviously, like Marco said, this is a team that desperately needs forwards badly. I think he will be a really great addition to this team, and I think maybe possibly he could be able to contribute year 1, maybe, but we'll see about that. I'm actually gonna go back to the Derek Queen thing. Hold on. If he falls to us on 13, I think the Hawks should be interested in taking him. I think his offensive potential is just so interesting because of his half court drives. It's just his defense is just not good at all, right? So I'm just really intrigued by his offense, though. So that's why I'm just so conflicted, honestly, right now. But I would still probably just take Colin Murray Boyles, honestly. Were you about to say something, Chris?
I mean, yeah, if you're looking for feedback on the Queen,
Yeah.
I just don't think he has a role here long term. The defensive fit is
That's the thing. I'm just
the opposite of what the Hawks need. So
I'm just really interested in him offensively, but it's like his defense, he's just so slow, and it's just I just don't see any. He has a lack of athleticism and stuff. It's just that's just gonna be a huge problem. It's just I don't know. I'm interested, but I feel like it's just gonna be a bad idea.
I mean, it just kind of goes to the anomalous BPA thing I was talking about, where it's like, oh, let's get this guy and like figure out how to use him. Like, no, the Hawks have like Jalen Johnson.
They don't have the time to do that right now, right?
They have guys that like have roles that they're like trying to, like, they would need to know exactly how they're gonna implement Derek Queen into this, and I just don't see how he fits what they're trying to do, especially defensively. He not my cup of tea in terms of defenders. For me, I'm especially we're talking about like the Moneyball era and like the value era, and if you're a defender or you're big that just really doesn't impact the game defensively, I don't really care about you. I don't have any use for you.
Yeah, it's just I don't know how they're gonna make it work on defense, so I'm just gonna stick with Colin Murray Boyles. For 22, if I had to pick, it will probably be Hansen Yang. Oh, it seems to be like he's a really gifted offensive center. I would just stick him in the G League so he could work on his defense. He showed that he wasn't really the best on defense. I know also that the Chinese league probably doesn't have the best reputation, but I've seen so much potential in what the combine has shown. It's like I think the Hawks should just take that risk if they decide to go with pick 22 this year and just go and try and develop him as potentially maybe a backup center. Because I think maybe he could possibly be a hub one day, honestly. But we'll see if they actually do that. But Marco, you mentioned something about trading pick 22. We were actually gonna move on and actually talk about potential trade scenarios for that.
Right.
Would you trade any of the picks in any situation to improve the team or move up for a player in the draft?
I know we've been linked to Kaman. I am a big Kaman fan. But realistically, in order, unless you just tell Kaman's camp, hey, don't take him, blah blah blah. You know, you do the Tyrese situation or whatever. Then yeah. But then other than Kaman, I don't think I'll really move up. If that may, I don't know. I haven't really deep dived the trade ups besides Kaman because I haven't really, because in my mind we're staying at 13 and 22. So that's how I've been looking at it. For players, I can run down a lot of players that also fit in that $25 million exception that we have from the DeJounte trade, but I'm not going to list all of them. But if I had to do 22 or 13, if I had to do realistically, like I said, I'm gonna shop 22 first. I'm gonna try to keep 13 in every situation, unless like New Orleans is like Zion is available now. Like, yeah, I might go get Zion now. Like, that'd be the only reason I might trade both of those picks. If it's like Zion or the Bucks, I doubt it happens. Or the Bucks are just like, yeah, you know, we'll start talking about Giannis. I doubt that happens, but other than that, I would just try to shop. Oh, you're about to say something?
I was about to say they're not gonna shop him, especially in like 3 days.
I mean, I'm gonna say like I know it's not gonna happen. Like that just happened, and we're trying to like fast forward this. But since the new league year has officially started by the time we're recording this, so well, you know what I mean. Anyways, yeah, I would do like Cam Johnson for 22. I doubt the Nets would want 22 because they already have 4 picks this draft. So either it'd be like Cam Johnson and what, like they own like 26, 27. Move back some and you still can get another player, I guess. I've played with Malik Monk for 22. Just so because it's reported that the Kings won another first. So just you know, scenarios like that. What do you think, Leon? Would you trade 22 for, or just trade any of the picks in general for a now player?
I think Cam Johnson's a nice entity. We need some kind of grown-up wing that has played basketball and can do a 2 dribble pull-up, get to the rim, or is an amazing shooter. Like Cam Johnson is an amazing shooter. RJ Barrett, at the very least, has strength creation on his side, is despite his mid shot selection. I mean, I trade 22 for like Daniel Gafford. Or
I left him out. I don't know how I
yeah,
forgot him.
it's like somebody at a position of need, like in a truly impactful position. I don't think I would trade 13 for much of anybody. Unless like it's more of a trade back scenario. But like 22 straight up for a player, yeah, I'd do that in a couple scenarios for sure. Definitely Cam Johnson, definitely RJ Barrett, Daniel Gafford, that middling 20-ish million dollar a year tier, where you're kind of like sixth man money, like really good sixth man money. I can't think of anybody else off the top of my head. Like, probably wouldn't trade it for anybody that's a son. It's not named Booker.
Does it have to be a
Well,
forward?
for a center, I wouldn't trade 22 for a guard. If I'm trading one of these first round picks, it's for somebody that's at least 6'5". Like RJ Barrett is the floor height wise, and he's a tank, so it's different with him. Anyways,
What do you say, Chris?
I don't know. Honestly, I haven't really thought about this move much. I mean, for me right now, the value is probably in taking a guy, especially if you can get Rasheer. Maybe you see who gets taken in the lottery and then call one of those teams if they created like a redundancy. Say someone had a big and they take a big. Now you have a chance maybe to get someone that they don't want to pay. They're restarting that clock, right? So I think you kind of just have to be opportunistic from here and see what's out there. I do like the idea of maybe moving it for Gafford if you can get Coward and maybe you think you're going to sign a wing in free agency. Maybe you do go ahead and trade it for Gafford. I think that would be one of the better uses, especially if you were thinking about trying to draft a big. Then maybe you just go get one that you know can already do the job. So, yeah, I like that one. There's not too many moves I'm moved for trading 22 though.
I agree with you guys, Marco Leon, about trading 22 for players like Gafford, and Cam Johnson. I will also say this, in my opinion, I am fine with trading for a guard. Like an idea that's just been in my head constantly has been trading 22 for Colin Sexton because he fits in the TPE, he's an expiring contract. This team needs a backup point guard. I know that it may potentially cause like some problems in the obviously guard rotation, but I think they need some talented shot makers. Obviously, I think Colin Sexton fits that role perfectly. And yes, Colin Sexton 6'2", but he plays with a lot of effort and heart. He could probably play next to Trey, so for limited minutes in some lineups. So I think it will be fine, honestly. And the price for him probably won't even be that high. So I think it'll make actually a lot of sense. So, but yeah, I think exploring options to trade 22 is a good idea for the Hawks if they can take it. And if not, then hopefully they can try to pick the best available player for 22. But one one last question before I want to get to this like little lightning round I made. For the past few weeks, a certain player has been rejecting workouts with teams like the 76ers. Apparently he may be trying to go to a certain team. Maybe he thinks he's too good for them. His name's Ace Bailey. He's been considered to be a top 3 talent.
Arius.
Yes. Yep. I mean, he could be falling all the way down in the draft. He may even reach, out of the lottery. We have pick 13. Would you take Ace Bailey if he's at number 13 on draft night? And I'm going to start with you, Leon, since you already had a few comments about him already.
Sure. I don't think he wants to be a Hawk on this team. Honestly, if his camp was, I don't know, more realistic. I won't say smart because they are smart. I think that if you're a lottery talent and you have an opportunity and you have pedigree, you have an opportunity to steer your location, your draft spot, you should do it. I firmly believe that. It's been done by many a player in many a sport over the last 100 years.
The Eli Manning. Yep.
Yeah, I mean Eli Manning. If I'm not mistaken, Elway didn't want to play for somebody as well. It's a number. It happens often, and it happens more often than you think. Like very often, it happens, and you don't know it happens. As soon as Sarr last year not working out for the Hawks, like Usually teams work out. If number one's in question, you're gonna work out for the number one team. You're gonna get in the room. But we've seen more of that. More players understanding that the league, the amount of talent in the league is so high right now, and I saw a tweet that made it real simple for me. Like, yeah, your top three guys are about as good as they've always been, but the bottom half of NBA rosters is so much better than it used to be as soon as 20 years ago. Like when we were kids, well, when me, Marco, and Ant were kids, um, uh, when me, Marco, and Ant were kids,
Yeah, you can talk.
I'm sorry. Like sometimes I feel like you throw a lot of strays, so I gotta throw them your way every once in
Oh
a
my
while. I
god.
ain't gonna lie. Um, yeah, man, it's cool. It's cool when it comes to Eris. I don't know if I would take him at 13, but I might. Like, you gotta give him a look. He's from the city. He's a ridiculous athlete. And I think like he has a lot of value that people aren't really thinking about. Like, he's a really good rebounder, right? Um, shot making is shot making at the end of the day, right? And it's funny, right? If you're a Hawks fan, what have you been saying? Oh, I need a three who can make tough shots over good defense. Okay, that's Ace Bailey. Like, if you might have to deal with a lot of the other stuff, but yeah, I need a three who could take and make tough shots against good defense, and he has literally branded and promoted himself as that guy. So it would be hard to pass up on him. Like, if he wasn't from Atlanta, it'd be easier to pass up. But because he's from Atlanta, it's a lot harder to do. It's a lot harder to do from a selling tickets and like selling your vision kind of standpoint. Like, Ace Bailey's there at 13, you don't take him. It's gonna be a tough conversation with the city because this city love Ace like as much as Ant. Like coming out, maybe more actually. Actually, I'm pretty sure like this city likes Ace more than they did Ant coming out.
I mean, I don't know. What do
But
you
like,
think, Mark? Oh, go
yeah,
ahead.
yeah. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I
Yeah.
think I pressed the mute button on accident. But yeah, like it depends on who else is there. Because if he falls, that means someone else moves up.
Yeah.
So probably yes, but it's an interesting spot you put yourself in because he's a 6'7" clear 2-3, probably never going to be thick enough balls to play the four. Definitely no time soon. Definitely not soon. But it'd be hard to pass up on him. That's all I can really say.
Yeah. What do you think, Marco?
I mean, if a top 4 talent is dropping to 13 and he's what 6'9", 6'10", and you clearly need more wings on this team, and he's from the city.
He's 6'7".
6'7", my bad. And you clearly need more wings on this team with everything that's like is going on with it. You have to take that. No matter how you feel about that person or his character or how he's like handling the draft right now, you still take it. And even if his camp hits you with we don't want him here, you still take him and force the team that he wants to go to make a deal with you. And if they just don't want to cooperate on the deal, you still have a good player. What is he going to do? Not show up?
In his own city, you gonna not show up for your own city, dog?
You're not going to show up.
The funny thing about it is, if he chooses to do that with a team that drafts him, the worst that would go is in Atlanta, because if you get drafted by Atlanta, like, oh dang, he fell all the way to 13. Like, you know how hyped this city's gonna be if Ace fall to 13 and the Hawks pick him.
Like, yeah, you got a national, you got a city,
like,
like,
y'all don't understand the peer pressure of a 20-year-old who went to McEachern. Like, this is an Atlanta school, like an Atlanta school. Okay. if he get drafted by Atlanta, like I don't like his camp might say something, but like, you know, you don't get on the court, buddy. We need a tough shot maker.
Yeah, and
Uh,
I'm like, is he
so
like? He's gonna want to
he
personally play.
simply, yeah, I mean, he should. Like, I mean, he. But like the thing is, he should want to go to a place where he can ease into things. But it seems as though his camp is trying to steer him away from those places. And it's funny, like the Nets thing is funny. Like everybody's like, oh, I think he wants to go to the Nets. Okay, all right. I mean, tough shot FC, like, but with a coach that like doesn't want you to take tough shots all the time. So that would be an interesting fit overall, I think. But yeah, man, I'm sorry I interrupted you. Please go ahead.
Oh no, you were fine now because you basically gonna say what I was gonna say. I'm like, to sum it up, like if he falls to 13, you take him. That's no question. Like I said, I don't care how you feel about how the process is going, how you feel. I don't care how you feel about how he's handling or how things certain shit is going. Blah blah blah. Like you still take him no matter what. That's just how that goes. And again, homegrown talent. He's from here. He's gonna want to play here. Nobody from their own city is gonna like be like, nah, I don't want to play for my city. Like, no. Chris, have you chimed in?
No, but I mean, I would like to. Yeah, and I like Ace. I think in terms of that player type, he's one of the better in the draft. I mean, to Leon's point, like we're literally looking for a guy who can come and kind of be that guy for Trey, take tough shots, get one-on-ones, and create an opportunity for himself in the half court. I think he gets a lot of heat. I think his age is kind of ignored. He's a guy who's a little bit younger than a lot of the prospects in this draft. So I think he's a guy who really would have benefited from going back for a year. That's just not the ecosystem we live in right at this time. He knows he can be a top 10 pick, and you're going to go in the draft. The guys don't really pass that opportunity up anymore. He's a guy. I think another year of weightlifting would be huge for him. I think strength is going to be big, but when you're looking for a guy with the tools, like to play a one-on-one game and to create his own shot, yeah, he's probably one of the more advanced guys in this draft for that. I think when the strength comes in, the athleticism will play up even more. To Leon's point, I mean, he gets off the ground really well. He moves well for 6'7". Really like his first step. I think once he can kind of punish guys once they're out of position, right? I think he's going to be able to score some easier baskets to go on top of the tough ones. He's got a confident stroke and he's aggressive. I think that's the type of player who can be good in the NBA, whether he develops or not. I mean, we'll see, right? It's the toughest basketball league in the world. You can have all the tools, and it just doesn't work out. But I think the fit is important for him, so I get why they're trying to be specific about it, right? You don't want to get buried, but to Leon's point, like you don't want to be overexposed and be asked to do too much, right? I think easing in would be great for him on a team that does have a playmaker. I think Atlanta would be a nice opportunity for him at worst. I mean, you think you could probably play yourself into the sixth man role. But yeah, I think if you can
And it's
get
like
yourself
in Atlanta, it's not like you got like a bunch of guys to go through. Like,
no,
At
yeah, it's
all.
wide
you know what I
open. Yeah,
mean?
so
At
Like,
all.
everyone's
if you want to
developing.
be the
No.
number one, if you want to be the guy, then yeah, I mean, Trey's Trey. But I mean, dang man, like in 2 years, if you're like the bona fide number two option on this team, like it wouldn't shock me. If we drafted Ace Bailey and you told me in 2027, Zach's on another team. Zach's on another team and Aces are starting three, I would not be shocked.
Not at all. He's the type of scorer, right? When that strength comes in, if that game is like real, man, he could really take off. It's kind of like what Benedict Mathurin was doing for the Pacers, like off the bench. I think like that type of role for him as a rookie with this group would be really beneficial, right? He gets to be aggressive without a lot of the responsibility. Kind of basically the way they used Hunter, some. And yeah, to your point about moving off of Zach, if Ace does hit, right? I mean, that's the the hope is that Zach like develops some of the stuff that Ace already has. So like he's playing catch up, and I think for Ace, it's about like the physical side and kind of decision making, and less so developing the skills. He's already kind of on that skill refinement stage as a scorer, which puts him in a good position. I think Zach has to. There's things Zach does better than Ace for sure, but some of the things that have come naturally to Ace, Zach is going to have to try to learn at the NBA level, and that's tough. I think the archetype, the trend up, right, is going to be very different for those two players. I think Zach probably has a high floor, but Ace's ceiling could be huge. So yeah, I think he's a really interesting player. I think the 6'10" hype like almost hurt him. Like I don't know why they were like people were pushing that. Like maybe they thought he was going to grow like an extra like inch or so while he was at Rutgers, and like it wouldn't get exposed. I don't know why people lie about their heights right now. But I mean, a guy that's 6'7" that with his length and his shot making ability, I mean, it's still a really tough player to guard. So yeah, I think he'd be really, really fun for the Hawks. I don't think you could pass that up if he falls there. Yeah, that's one of the guys that you'd have to take over Cedric or Rasheer just because the ceiling is so high.
For me, yeah, I would probably do it. I think, like y'all said, the talent is just so high, and we don't have many forwards on this team. So
Agreed.
it's just what did you say, Marco?
Oh, I said agreed. I was just agreeing.
Oh yeah, okay. I was about to say thought you were making a joke or something. I have to watch you.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. But yeah, I think he has a lot of talent. But okay, y'all. I forgot what I was about to say. Anyway, I would draft him at 13 if he fell to us. Let me move on to this lightning round because I completely forgot what I said. Okay, but we're gonna do
lightning round.
So I have a bunch of players. I'm just gonna read out their names and what pick we're drafting them. We could be drafting them at, and I want y'all to just say yes. Would you guys be happy if the Hawks picked them at 13 or 22? So we're just gonna start with players that could possibly be at number 13. So Jace Richardson.
No.
No.
Hell no.
Okay. Thomas Sorber.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
Okay. Colin Murray Boyles.
Sure.
Yes.
Yes.
Asa Newell.
No. No.
It's a no.
It really depends on who's available, but probably no.
Like it would have to be like I'd take Chris Paris over him.
If Ace is the best available, I would be fine just taking Rasheer and trading 22.
Okay. Cedric Howell.
Yeah, Coward. Yeah, facts for sure.
Howard,
My
yeah.
guy.
Yeah.
Cedric Howard.
I said Howard. I said Howell. Coward. Okay.
Cedric Howell.
Yeah.
That's cool. Him for sure. Yes,
All
number
right.
one guy.
Derek Queen.
No.
No. I've done the count, right? And it's just no way. Like unless all the wings and bigs go and it's just guards at 13, it's like the next 3 or 4 players are guards at BPA wise or guards at 13. Like we can't lose unless nobody likes these guards. And somebody likes these freaking guards, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
for
no.
sure. Like VJ is going to be gone, and that's going to start like a mini. Like the top guy at each position is going to be gone by like 4, so things will be interesting.
All right. Igor Demin, aka Big V.
No.
No.
No,
I did the count,
I would
bro.
actually
Like,
I would
Personal
actually
notes.
crash out, man. I would actually crash out.
I
No.
would not crash out, but I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't bet my job on it.
No.
Yeah.
Not strong enough, man. I play at the NBA level.
Yeah. Noah Esinghe.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
would pick no.
Yeah.
I think Noah's going to go really high.
Even with his recent
the
games, he's
13,
only, I think over the last 6, he's only averaged like 3
jump on
points.
that.
Yeah.
But even with his recent games, I'll still take him at 13.
All right. Carter Bryant.
Yeah.
Yeah,
For sure.
I would take Carter.
I don't know how I'm bad at pronouncing names. Kasparas Jakion.
Don't even
Nah,
hurt
I'm
yourself.
not
Don't
really
hurt yourself, man.
Yeah, Kasparas Giaconis.
Yep.
Sure.
Thank you.
Like
I'm in the
it's
middle.
like worst case scenario. Like of the guys that I've said no to, that's the closest to a yes I'd get, probably besides Asa. But they're probably about equal to me at 13. I would not be happy, but I would take them if the world came crashing down.
All right. Joan Bringer.
No.
Nah,
It's too.
Yeah.
If it was
I get
22,
that's
yeah.
high.
I get it. Yes.
Come on Malawatch.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
Yeah,
of course.
On
What
at
the hell?
13, that'd be crazy.
It's probably this is based on some mock drafts I've seen. I've seen him.
Yeah,
as low
I
as
mean,
that,
like
so.
some people,
I mean, with
Yeah.
recent reports, they put him there.
Spreadsheet FC.
Yeah, I was
FC doesn't
literally
love
going to say Spreadsheet FC is
Yeah.
They're not in love with him because the numbers are
NBA
not.
scouts and GMs are going to jump at the 7-2 guy.
All right. So we're gonna move to the 22nd pick. Possible choices.
No,
Yikes.
Rasheer Fleming.
Yeah, for sure.
My guy.
Run to the podium.
Got
Mhm.
you. Danny Wolf.
No, I'm in the middle
I'm
actually.
not a big Danny Wolf guy. I think he's a very interesting game, but no.
Oh, I put Joan Beringer twice on here. So
No.
Yeah,
He
take
could
him
be
at
there
22.
too. Yeah, definitely take him at 22. I'm gonna answer Wolf because I didn't before, but we already spoke about it, and it's just no. And I will be okay being wrong on him.
Yeah, for sure. The defense, it's a bad bet defensively. Sometimes
Is this Kyle Anderson? Is this big Kyle Anderson?
You can sometimes you can be right even if you're wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like you can make the smart bet and a guy works out. It's like, all right, I'll just chalk that one up to the game. Like that, I'm fine with being wrong on Derek Queen. Like he can get to the league and be a superstar, but that defense, like it's just not gonna. I'm not visualizing. Right? There's some guys you just nah.
all right, next one. Hansen Yang. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
I'd be fine with taking him at 13 if things
I would
get weird.
if he somehow falls to the second, I would try to shop Kobe or somebody in
Yeah.
the second.
I don't know if he's gonna fall that far, but
I think he
I like
may possibly. Walter Clayton Jr.
yeah, it's a no for me.
No guards.
He's there are small guards, right? And he's like Trey Small, like legit, very similar measurements. He's got like an inch on the wingspan, and the different like Jace, for all his faults, he's Presti Pilled at 6'1". He's got the +6 wingspan working to his advantage, and it almost makes him a viable defender, and he tries. And if he's going to be hyper efficient, it'll work. Like he's not going to be the Fred VanVleet where his defense is just elite. Like Fred VanVleet understands the game defensively different than most people. I'd say his defensive IQ is up there with some of the best in the league. He's just small. Jace is a good defender though. To be that size, obviously that's college, but Walter Clayton Jr. special shooter, but that's.
I'm trading.
I'd move back for that. I'd move back.
I'm trading.
All right, next one. Nolan Traore.
No,
Hell no.
not my
I'm
cup of
just
tea.
not really interested in guards. I think if you're
I don't
looking
want a
for
guard
a
at all.
guard for this
Generally
team, right,
speaking,
you're hoping for a backup point guard, and at this point, I would just get an adult, man. He freed up some money.
Liam McNeely.
What happened to him?
If he falls to 22, I would not be mad. Well, I mean, he's already projecting that. Yeah.
The thing with Liam McNeely is you're hoping he's I'm gonna have to look at it.
It's
but
like Brad.
You're
It's
like
like
hoping
Brad
he's
said.
George Niang. Like
Yeah.
you're hoping he's George Niang. I didn't want to say it, but that's really what you're hoping. You saw
Yeah, I
how
don't
hard
know.
I
It's
tried not to
hard.
say that.
It's a maybe. It just really depends on who's there. Probably not though. I'll probably just trade out of it. That's one of those. Yeah, I might just trade for a vet. That's but I don't know,
Niang
very
slightly
unlikely.
taller with the longer wingspan, but was much older. Obviously, he was one of the best players in college
Which I mean,
basketball.
it's a kid that could be a solid player, right? The shot could, if the shot is real, he could just be good in the NBA. I just don't know about the defense and for the roles the Hawks are drafting for, like these aren't really upside bets. So I need a good floor. So it's probably a no.
Yeah. All right. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, it's a no. It's a no.
Noah Penda.
Yes.
I would.
Yeah.
High floor, man. That got too many defenders. Trey, like Camera. I don't know. I probably said his name wrong. But Tumani Camera. That's a guy that I could see him just hitting the ground running and being one of those type of defenders, and just messing people up.
Mm-hmm.
This is a name I heard a lot on Hawks Twitter. Nick Clifford.
Oh, come on, man. 22.
Yeah,
22, yeah. I'd be fine with
yeah.
that.
Ben Seraph.
I don't know anything about
know.
this guy. I'll be
No?
honest. So I'm
Okay.
gonna say no.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
worry. I worry that he's not an NBA athlete. But if he's not an NBA athlete, if everything else is good enough to be an NBA player, like I just don't know what I'm looking at. Like I just can't. I can't grab onto a comp of any kind. Like
That's a really weird way to
usually-
describe someone.
usually when I watch a guy, I'll grab onto a bad comp immediately, but it's a comp. I just don't see anything when I watch him play. Like I just don't see nobody.
That's the best
As an
thing,
NBA
man.
player.
It's an enigma.
Usually you
for
can
you.
see NBA players. Like this is the thing, right? When you watch a guy, you're like, okay, that guy's an NBA player, or at least you can
Thomas
like kind
Satoransky?
of visualize it a little bit.
Thomas Satoransky, maybe. But that's the best I can do.
All right. Will Riley. Nope.
Probably no.
Probably not. I mean, I get why, but probably not.
He would have to maybe impress him in a workout, I guess, one-on-one.
If I was the Hawks and I got the guy I wanted at 13, and that guy was for sure really good on defense,
Calamari,
and
bro.
qualifier was coming. This would have disqualified him. Not Carter Bryant, and also taller than Carter Bryant. So that's like, come on, Rasheer.
Mm-hmm.
Sorber, if you feel that way. And I don't really think any of those is going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So, no.
And the last name for tonight, Maxime Reynaud.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I would.
100%. Yeah.
I was going to use him as my 22 pick in the earlier segment. I think he's a very interesting player. I think he's got a good athletic profile for guys that, like, when you teach them how to play defense, that they could just be good in the NBA. So, yeah, I like him.
Very fluid for his size.
Mm-hmm.
And has some shot making diversity. Took a lot of different shots. Got great hooks. Very good touch for a 7-footer. And, like, it's not always pretty, but he has the ability to attack a closeout.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, the lightning round is over. It is officially, as we're recording this, less than 3 days to the NBA draft. Anyone has any final thoughts before we close this off?
Maybe make sure y'all follow our Twitter page, man. A lot of us things we do. I think we're running a draft space with Dealey again or something like that.
I think it's gonna be on YouTube. We're streaming with them.
No, yeah. So come check that out. We'll post it on ours. Hopefully Hawks make some good picks, and we leave draft night happy.
Can't wait to see Colin Sexton in Atlanta, right? Right, guys?
Yikes. No, man,
No,
we gotta
okay.
keep the
I can wait.
we're adding
Okay, whatever. All
we
right.
finally got rid of Clint Capella. I thank you for all of your hard work in the Hawks uniform, but it's time to get the new CC, Cedric Howard, in Atlanta. So we gonna
Yes,
have
sir. There we
What
go.
you did in 21 Clint will never be forgotten.
never be forgotten.
Never be
I want you to
forgotten.
know that. If you
That
listen
would
to this,
never
I
be
want you to
forgotten.
know. And I'm gonna tell you something, Clint.
That's true.
I regret everything I said about you, bro. I got plantar fasciitis, and I respect you. I respect you, Clint
Getting
Capella.
old.
I'm so
Yeah,
sorry.
man.
Yeah, I'm on. Yeah, for sure.
Man can't get off the ground now.
Trying to praise it,
Very
man.
funny. Very funny.
but with that, we will see you all for the next episode after the draft. Have a good night or morning or afternoon.
The Hawks.